We're going to take a moment to take pictures with family and friends. Thank you. We would now like to take a moment of silence in memory of Patricia Cooperman. Patricia joined South Bay in 1998 as a child nutrition assistant and was most recently the kitchen lead at Central. Patricia passed away on February 15th after a long illness. Our thoughts are with her family, friends, and colleagues. Thank you. We have a community report, Superintendent Jose Espinosa, who will introduce Chief John French for a presentation on the Imperial Beach Fire Rescue Department.
Thank you, President Laker. And I would like to invite Chief John French to come up to the podium, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the programs that the fire department has with our IB schools. Thank you.
Right. Good evening, trustees, Superintendent Espinosa. I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about the collaboration that the fire department has had over the years with the South Bay Union School District and kind of show you some of the things we've done and some of the things we've continued to do. My name is John French. I'm the fire chief for the city of Imperial Beach, and I've been with the city for over 40 years. So we've been doing this for a long time. Been the fire chief for about 9. So this is something that we have in our mission core values and statements that we like to mentor the kids of our community and help them whenever they need that help. So by getting to the schools, we're fulfilling part of our mission. One of the big things we do every year for the second grade classrooms at the 4 elementary schools, Oneonta, Ivy Charter, Bayside, and Central. So every October is a fire prevention week. So we like to go to the second grade classrooms and do our presentations. And these are some of my firefighters at one of the schools here doing a presentation for the kids. And the kids love when we come out and do these presentations. As part of the presentations, every year we have a poster contest for each one of the schools. So each one of the second grade teachers have their kids do posters, and the posters are the themes are based on the National Fire Prevention Week topic. So I think it was smoke alarms save your life. So that was the theme for 2024. So these are 2 of the winners for the poster contest for 24. Here's one of the other ones, and then you'll see the other one here. So our firefighters here with one of the winners from the poster contest. So we like to kind of get the kids to think about fire prevention and fire safety in their homes and in school and things like that. So this is one of our big things with the schools here. What we like to do too is with these poster contests in October, we have our fire department open house. So we like to get the posters at our open house and have those things present so that the community can see the good work that the kids are doing with these posters. During the month of October, which is Fire Prevention Month. We also display a lot of the posters in our City Hall in one of the display cases we have there so that the community can see these posters at City Hall. Each school has all the posters are voted on from all the schools, and there's one winner from each school, and the class that kid comes from gets an ice cream party. So the firefighters will come out and serve ice cream and all the toppings for the kids, and they just love that when we come out there and do that. So the ice cream party is one of the rewards for the school. And then the teacher and the kids also have bragging rights, so they get a plaque with the kid's name on it that they get to keep in that classroom for, the year until we have the contest next year. So some of those teachers work pretty hard at getting their kids to win all the time. So here's one of the other schools and the ice cream parties that we do for the kids. And one of the big things we like to do too is get the kids to our city council meeting. So the 4 winners from the 4 schools, we will bring them to the city council. We will do a presentation from our city council, and we'll give them an award, and then we'll have them with their posters, and they'll get to meet with the council members. And then after we do that, the council will take a picture with them. So this is the picture from our last year's winners. One of the winners wasn't there. So here's 3 of the winners from 3 of the schools here. So besides that, some of the other things we like to do is read across America. So when the schools ask us to do that, we jump on these opportunities. So I believe this might have been Oneonta school here, where the firefighters love to come out and read in the classrooms. Besides that, we've done the job fair here at IB Charter. We do fire station visits where the kids can come to the station, and we'll give them a tour of the engine and the things. And actually this Friday, we have a tour. VIP preschool is going to come down with some of the kids, and we're going to do tours. So, towards the end of the year, we'll get a lot of those requests from a lot of the teachers and things like that. So we really enjoy doing that and, showing them, what we do and kind of some of the equipment we have. And then one of our big things in October, the fire department open house. Some of the things we key on is the second grade, because that's really when they learn. But the fire department open house is where an opportunity for all the kids from all the different grades to come out and see not just what the fire department does, but what the sheriff department does and some of the other, public safety entities in the community. So we really enjoy doing that. Yeah, if you have any questions or comments, good, thank you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for being here. Your presence means a lot to all of us. And I know how fire prevention, it means save a lot of lives. And it is important that, youngster students, they learn in the early stages of their education. I think it brings a value to how important it is, to prevent fires, especially now that we have here in California. But thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think it's like going to fire departments and visiting the departments and having you all come out to our schools. I think it's most of our core memories. Like we all have like a core memory of learning how to be safe, and also in case of emergency, not to be afraid when the firemen are coming to help the children or anyone. So thank you so much for being a blessing in our community.
Okay, thank you.
Wait. Thank you so much for coming. This is one of my things on my things to do list this year was to invite you. So thank you so much for coming. It's real important that our community hear how the city of Imperial Beach has become really good partners with South Bay. Not only the fire department, but the city and the city council, and bringing children to the meetings, and you yourself. Okay. So when you go out to our schools, it's really, really special. And the schools share it on their social media, and I see that. And I was there in the room in December when the poster contest winners were there. And it's just really special that the teachers are engaged. Bragging rights, it's out there. And I just think it's just, you know, you said 40 years, you've been here 40 years,
40.
40? Woo-hoo. Well, I'm 10 years above you. I'm just not counting that. But thank you again for coming, and please tell the city of Imperial Beach that we thank them and you for your partnership. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for your service.
I just got one more question. How often you guys do an open house?
We do the open house once a year during the first couple weeks of October, during the fire prevention week and fire prevention month is when we do that. And we usually like to get flyers out to the schools and things like that. So we will continue to do that.
Great, thank you.
Next, we have our school report for Bayside STEAM Academy. We recognize Principal Kyle Griffith for a presentation. Thank you.
I'm tall. Good evening, President Liker, trustees, Superintendent Espinosa, and Executive Cabinet. It is my pleasure to share the wonderful work occurring at Bayside STEAM Academy and our exciting plans for the future. As you know, Bayside is a wonderful small school with an amazing location situated next to the Bayshore Bikeway. Our students are surrounded by nature every day. As we get ready to enter spring, there will be vibrant blooms of native flowers and, as I heard today, the almost deafening sounds of migratory birds just outside of our gates. Our dedicated teachers often incorporate these natural elements into their lessons. Additionally, our teachers take advantage of our proximity to the wildlife refuge by leading walking field trips to explore earth and life science concepts firsthand with their students. Our committed team of educators works tirelessly to create an engaging and enriching learning environment for our students. That's a little small. We have a diverse student population at Bayside. With 368 students currently enrolled, approximately 40% of our students are multilingual learners, and nearly 75% are classified as socioeconomically disadvantaged. Our students face many challenges, but we are committed to supporting them by meeting them where they are and by providing high-quality, differentiated instruction. Additionally, we offer the social, emotional, and other supports they need to reach their fullest potential. At Bayside, we emphasize STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics education. We're actively working to further integrate these disciplines into our curriculum to foster creativity, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills. And our dedicated teachers and staff work tirelessly to create an engaging and enriching learning environment that prepares our students for future successes. After several years of positive growth on our CASP scores, unfortunately, we experienced a slight decline in both ELA and mathematics for the 2023-24 school year. This was, of course, concerning. We conducted a thorough analysis of the CASP and iReady data and identified key areas for improvement, specifically with mathematics. Here you'll see the results from the first iReady diagnostic. At the beginning of the year, our students took the initial iReady diagnostic assessment. The results, frankly, were extremely concerning, with only 13% of our students at or above grade level in reading and just 5% at or above grade level in math. Our team recognized the urgency of the situation and knew we needed immediate action to address these issues. A little bit later in this presentation, when I'm talking about the goals, I will discuss the specific steps we've taken to address these concerns. And I'll also highlight some of the wonderful results we are already seeing as a result of our efforts. We have 3 goals in our SIPSA. Our first goal focuses on working with our educational partners and states the following. Bayside is committed to collaborating with all educational partners to ensure our school is well organized and effective at meeting the needs of our students through living out the district's vision, mission, and values. To meet this goal, we at Bayside are actively working to build effective collaborative partnerships with our families and community. It all begins with communication. Every week, we keep our families informed about Bayside happenings via Turtle Talk, our weekly newsletter, as well as via Class Dojo, an online communication platform, and through our socials. We also engage with our families through monthly coffees with the principal, in which I update families about Bayside and get feedback and ideas from our families. It is frankly not uncommon for our parents to stay after the meeting for an hour or more to share their thoughts and ideas for making Bayside a better place. We really have amazing parents who care deeply about our school. Additionally, 4 times a year, we host a family lunch day where we welcome our families to share lunch with their children. At our last family lunch day a couple of weeks ago, we had 165 parents and family members attend. We're also serious about supporting our families. Thanks to our incredible school social worker, Veronica Avila Cruz, and our amazing family and communication engagement specialist, Denise Ramos Gonzalez, we provide services and support to our families and have hosted several parent education workshops that have been very well received by participants. Additionally, their feedback and questions are used to inform future workshops, so we're ensuring our work is meeting the needs of our families. Of course, all of this requires us to have effective working relationship with our educational partners. We have a wonderful group of parents and educators serving on our school site council and on our ELAC. Many of them spend countless hours volunteering to support our school in addition to the important work they already fulfill on these committees. Our second goal focuses on school climate. It states that Bayside is committed to providing a safe, equitable, and inclusive school environment where students have a voice and know they are valued. Additionally, we are dedicated to dismantling barriers preventing students from fulfilling their fullest potential. To meet this goal, we've partnered with the San Diego County Office of Education to implement positive behavior interventions and supports, or PBIS, at Bayside. Through this work, we've developed an expectation matrix around the acronym SWIM. SWIM stands for Safe, Work It Out, Integrity, and Mindfulness. We are actively working to have this acronym become the center of everything we do at Bayside. In addition to our PBIS work, we continue to focus on reducing chronic absenteeism, as well as implementing restorative practices and trauma-informed care to meet the needs of our diverse student body and to ensure their needs are met and that they feel safe, included, and valued by all. Additionally, to foster student engagement, our students have developed innovative learning experiences. Our teachers have developed innovative learning experiences during our weekly exploration time as part of our STEAM focus. Through this time, Bayside students have an opportunity to develop a school garden from scratch, work with Lego robotics, experience fairy tale engineering, and many other exciting STEAM-based activities. Moving on to goal 3. As I mentioned earlier, our academic data was concerning, especially our initial iReady results at the beginning of the year. Our third goal is our academic goal, and it specifically addresses these concerns. It states that Bayside is committed to improving classroom instruction in literacy, mathematics, and ELD through data analysis and sound instructional strategies to improve learning outcomes for multilingual learners and to improve student performance in English language arts and mathematics. So what are we doing to address these pressing academic concerns? Well, thanks to the amazing work of our teachers with the support of our TOSA, Ms. Noemi Salcedo, we have already made great progress. Once we received that first initial iReady data, we held 3 pullout days for our teachers to do a deep dive into the data. As part of this work, they identified students of focus for intervention groups in both reading and math and planned for targeted instruction to meet the needs, the specific needs of each group. As you can see on this graph, the results have been extremely positive. By the second diagnostic, that's the one higher up. By the second diagnostic, we'd seen an improvement from 13% to 24% of our students at or above grade level in reading. Additionally, the number of students performing 2 or more grade levels below grade level decreased from 45% to 34%. That's in reading. The results in math were equally impressive as we moved from 5% of our students at or above grade level to 15% at or above grade level, and with a reduction of students scoring 2 or more years below grade level from 45% down to 36%. Now, we recognize there is still much to do as these numbers are still nowhere where we want them to be. And as such, as soon as we had the data from the second diagnostic in our hands, we held additional pullout days to repeat the data analysis and planning. Our teachers and students are working hard to continue this trend of improvement, and we believe these positive results will continue. Furthermore, we believe these results also predict improvement when our students take the CASP in just a few weeks. We are extremely proud of what we've accomplished this year at Bayside, but we know there is still much to do. We're continuing to focus on improving instruction and outcomes in literacy and mathematics through data analysis and planning with an added emphasis on our multilingual learners. We're also continuing to work on revitalizing our STEAM focus through site-wide thematic project-based learning with an environmental science focus. We are proud of some of the connections we've already made with local STEAM-based organizations, such as the Reuben H. Fleet Science Center's SciTech program for upper grade girls and the SDG&E Wildlife and Climate Resiliency Center, as well as the work that our 4th and 5th graders have done with the Linda Vista Innovation Center. In addition to our academic work, we also have exciting things in the works for our campus and community. We are currently in the early stages of a mural project in connection with Wild Coast and the IB Arts Bureau to create student-painted murals that will be visible to people utilizing the adjacent Bayshore Bikeway. Additionally, we are excited for the Bayshore Bikeway Resiliency Project that has the potential to turn our field into an incredible asset for both our students and the community. We've already had our initial walkthroughs with the project team, and next week we will be having student focus groups where our students will have an opportunity to provide feedback on what they would like to see on our field. Following that, we will be scheduling at least 2 community forums to gather community feedback sometime in April. And in fact, I just saw an email today with the dates. I want to say it was the 12th and 13th, but don't quote me on that. We're excited about the potential this project brings for our school and community, as it will not only beautify our campus, but it will ensure our students have world-class outdoor facilities. Thanks to our incredible team and amazing students, the future is bright at Bayside. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming. And please thank your staff for all their hard work. Teachers and classified, office staff, food service, and the groundskeepers and maintenance, because Bayside's beautiful.
It is, and we have a wonderful team.
It is, and I'm so excited about the park slash playground that's happening. And they're having a presentation right now at the city about it. I'm sure it's just on the tail end of what we received last month or month before. But thank you so much for coming. And good luck on your testing, April? Yeah. And I'm glad to hear that the utilization of the TOSA is helping you and your staff. That's what
Absolutely.
I like to hear. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you very much.
Principal, Griffith, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
It's sometimes it's hard to stand here as we look very looking at the readings and math. It is kind of concerning. It is concerning, something that we need to improve. And of course, I know for your hard work, and I know your teachers are working diligent, hard, and students. So, got a question for you.
Yes.
The coffee with the principal. How many parents do you think do you guys normally get?
On average, we get between 18 and 20, although I will say since January, we had kind of a drop off. And I'm not sure whether that's related to some of the concerns with immigration status. But I would say it's dropped down to about 12 the past couple. Could just be, whether it was a rainy day, one of them. But typically we've been averaging about 18 to 20. And they're fantastic families that they contribute a lot to our school. And they ask really great questions. They keep me on my toes.
Yeah, so my next question would be, are they pretty much aware of what's going on with the reading and math levels, or
Yes.
something that, yeah.
So everything that I've shared with you this evening, we've shared at coffees with the principal and also at ELAC and SSC meetings.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. And also I want to thank you for sharing how the plan that you made up to bring this test course up. They're not where we want them to be, but at least you guys made a process and you found a way to try to get those numbers up. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
It's great to see the progress, right, so far. And I look forward to seeing the continued growth. And like you said, it's a good sign that things are moving up, and you guys are probably going to have better results on the CAS.
We're intending to. Thank you.
Yes, I just want to echo our trustees. I love the growth mindset, right? We not focusing on what was, but where we're at now and how we meet our students and families and provide them with the resources that they need, the deep dive, so we know exactly where it is that we can support them. And I love the idea of the family lunches. That's a new one for me. Any opportunity that we can have to have families come to the campus and feel welcome, that just opens the doors for better communication with teachers and families and community so that we can better serve them. So thank you for all your hard work and your staff and teachers. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do we have a report of action taken in closed session?
Nothing to report.
Thank you. At this time, do we have any changes in the agenda? No? I considered changing one of the items when it comes to directly after public comment, we have our discussion items with the second interim budget report. But I'm not going to move that. I just hope that our community members stay for that very first presentation after public comment to hear the budget report. And I also invite you to come on March 13th for our special report. The budget is really the context in which the board makes all of its decisions. And this is information that's not just coming straight from our district, but it's also reported back to the San Diego County Office of Education, to the state, different levels of the board and the district, making sure that its information is true and accurate. So please stay for that portion and come back on the 13th for the special budget meeting. And with that, if there's no changes to the agenda, we'll approve the meeting agenda.
I move to approve the meeting agenda as listed.
I'll second that.
All right, we'll call for the vote.
Esparza,
Yes.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Aguino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Communications to the Board of Trustees. We have the South Bay PTA Council.
Thank you. I got to stay this time. Good evening, President Liker, board members, Superintendent Espinosa, admin team, community members, Amy Cooper. Dee Dee Brender, our council treasurer, and I enjoyed attending the Employee of the Year celebration and presenting gifts to the district employees of the year on behalf of the South Bay Council of PTAs. It is something that our council votes on every year, so we're happy to provide that. Nayeli Martinez, Executive Vice President for Council, Dee Dee, and I also attended the 9th District Founders Day annual meeting breakfast with our guest, President Liker and Superintendent Espinosa, along with a representative from Sunny Slope PTA and representatives from Pence PTA. It was a morning of great conversations, networking, and the business of 9th District PTA. I began the month helping at Mendoza's Book Fair, then Sunny Slopes, then Emory's. I kind of feel like a professional book fair worker. I currently would like to welcome you all over to the Imperial Beach Charter Book Fair, which is right across the hallway. All of these book fairs benefit our libraries to purchase new books to add to their collections. Years ago, when I was a librarian, the library budget became part of the general fund, and libraries seldom, not never, but seldom, receive money to replace old, damaged, or lost books. So the book fairs really help them. Currently, our PTAs are looking forward to holding their elections. We finally have parents willing to run for offices at Mendoza, so they will finally have a PTA board again. Yay. Emory has a spring carnival coming up March 21st. Sunny Slope is hoping to host another book fair and have a spring picnic for the parents to attend. Imperial Beach had a very successful but cold and windy movie night, and everybody stayed. It was very well attended. And they also hosted a glow dance and will be having their carnival May 16th. Many PTAs had or will be celebrating right across America through March. They are starting to plan staff appreciation events and looking at supporting kinder, 6th, and 8th grade promotions. So there is still a lot of work to be done, but our units are pitching in and doing it proudly. I am very blessed to have such a wonderful team working on my council and at all the sites. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, California School Employees Association, Chapter 59.
Son. Good evening, Superintendent SBUSD Board of Trustees and all in attendance. Hi. I'll keep it short this evening. I'd like to say just how much our team values having a good working relationship with all of you who are involved in making difficult decisions. We really do maintain a graceful balance while navigating through innumerable challenges and aspects. CSEA Chapter 59 is in the process of sunshining and will be presenting our collected data to the district bargaining team on Monday, the 17th for negotiations. And we know that we will be able to continue to maintain that equilibrium. In case no one has said it lately, we appreciate you, all of you. And thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Next, we have our Southwest Teachers Association.
Good evening, trustees, executive team, colleagues, and community members. Today, I would like to address the possible school closures. Research shows that school closures are harmful to students, that instead of saving money, it actually has a negative impact on a district's budget. Instead of saving money, they end up losing more students and therefore losing more money. An analysis of 15 years worth of school closures in Oakland found that as of 2019, 14 of the 18 closed district school buildings were then now housing charter schools. The expansion of charter schools in Oakland was estimated in 2019 to cost the district over $57 million per year, or approximately $1,500 less for each student in the district. SBUSD hasn't been transparent about the possible savings of school closures. What are those school savings? Research overwhelmingly shows that school closures, rather than enhancing student achievement, typically result in negative outcomes. Closures are associated with decreased attendance, less money, lower GPAs, and increased behavioral issues. A study of school closures in Milwaukee Public Schools found that the school closures caused negative impacts on student achievement and attendance. Furthermore, school closures are inequitable because they often disproportionately impact students of color and low-income students. These communities are more likely to have schools targeted for closure due to factors like declining enrollment, neighborhood demographics, and historical disinvestment, thereby exacerbating existing educational inequities. Questions remain. Why were bond funds intended for school modernization, including Central, diverted to security last year? Superintendent Espinosa's ultimatum at the February 11th meeting to choose 3 schools to close, or he would choose those 3 schools, raises serious concerns. Why is the superintendent pushing for multiple closures without demonstrating the cost savings and the rationale for 3 schools? Lastly, I'd like to point out that on multiple occasions, Superintendent Espinosa has stated that no decision has been made yet. The superintendent has already directed Nestor to downsize. Starting this upcoming 25-26 school year, Nestor has been told that they will be downsizing from 5 to 4 kindergarten classes. If no decision has been made, why has that direction already been given to our most successful school in our district? SBUSD needs to exhaust all other options before closing schools. School closures are harmful and disruptive to students, families, educators, and the broader community. SWATA believes every student deserves a public school in their neighborhood. The decision you make will impact generations of students, families, and educators. We ask you to prioritize exploring and investing in programs like the visual and performing arts, dual language, STEAM or STEM, rather than closing schools. Remember, you have that power. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Swata. Okay, next we have our district superintendent.
Thank you, President Liker. Good evening, trustees, staff, and community members. Where are we getting that feedback? Often I talk about how much work is going on across our district. Thank you. Often I talk about how much work is going on across our district, and often I just stop at that point, right? What I don't say is that this work often results in a lot of meetings, committee meetings, evening meetings. And so it's a lot of extra work for all the staff in our district and for the community, because often we ask the community to come join us at our meetings. So tonight I wanted to just pause, and I wanted to take this opportunity to thank our staff, certificated, classified, and management for attending our meeting tonight and all our meetings after long days of work and many family commitments. Your participation is important and much appreciated. So thank you. Next, I'd like to share a little surprise. Earlier this year, Director Oliveira began a project with the San Diego County Office of Education to produce promotional videos that we could share with our community. The first, a video to encourage students to attend our schools, is complete. The second, which focuses on staff recruitment, is still in production. Both videos will be produced in Spanish as well. We are pleased to share the student video with you tonight. Thank you, Director Oliveira, district staff, and the students that participated in this project.
1, 2, 3, 4. If you hear people your own age
There's someone to help me with math or writing.
explaining why their school is so amazing,
I always feel excited to learn because I'm always supported by my teachers and my friends.
you should probably check it out.
I like how we always come together as a family.
The teachers make learning fun.
And they give me a lot of opportunities.
The South Bay Union School District, 12 schools, and more than 350 amazing teachers,
They always try their best to accommodate their students' every needs.
where students like you experience the love of learning.
I also really like the lunch.
I joined mariachi to connect with my Mexican heritage.
I feel like we're going to have a great day of learning.
That was awesome. Thank you. Okay. So we are now going to move on to public comments on non-agenda items. The board will take no action or discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. except as authorized by law. Individual speakers are allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each non-agenda item. Speakers are not permitted to yield their time to another person. The board limits the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. Do we have any public comment?
We do. We have 4.
Thank you.
R. Terrell Rackley.
Okay, thank you. With no disregard to the fellas, since I am one, I'd like to start off, since we're acknowledging things, happy National Women's History Month to the women in attendance. With regard to that, I stand before you in part in representation of Kate Sessions, a great woman who had brought tree stewardship as a conversation to San Diego. With regard to that, there is a program that's actually, it's rolling at this point. Ready, Set, Grow is the name of the program. There was $10 million granted from the USDA to San Diego to plant 5,100 trees. The trees were sectioned off in communities, Otay, Nestor being one of them, which is the reason why I stand before you today. The group is Case Sessions that I participate in this process. We are advocating for those trees to be in schools listed as Emory, Howard Pence, Los Altos, Mendoza, and Sunny Slope, as well as Southwest Middle and Southwest High School, Mar Vista Academy Middle School. So the benefits of the trees are listed on literature that I've supplied to you here at SBUSD. There's many layers to the program, but one of the most important layers is us as a community-based organization with grassroots efforts is to involve the community members, the residents, as well as students in that process, because they are the beneficiaries of the trees and the reason why the trees have been selected to be placed in this area. With that being said, lastly, I will say that it is a project that is in full support and knowledge of the city of San Diego. There's plenty of information regarding that, so I only will speak toward the pure facts of 5,100 trees are selected, a portion of them for this particular area. Very beneficial in many ways. We've spoken toward fire. We've spoken toward many things, growth in this community that directly relate to this particular project. If there are any questions, there are a couple links there. There's San Diego.gov transportation, urban forestry, Ready, Set, Grow, and that will be listed there. If there's anyone that has any questions, or you can go on the city website of San Diego and in that search engine, put in Ready, Set, Grow for any questions that you may have. And please, I invite all of you, because there's a bunch of young people that work alongside me that are eager and excited to be a positive impact of this community. We are seeking residents that have any feedback as to, there are a few different tree varieties that are considered, some obviously deciduous and non. So those types of things, deciduous meaning they drop their leaves, non meaning they don't. So there are those things that to be considerate and be a good steward and be a good neighbor on a project that's supposed to be positive, the community residents should have a voice, and we translate that voice to the city. with the sustainable communities, the South Bay Sustainable Communities, working alongside Kate Sessions. Thank you for your time.
Allison Hoover, followed by Elizabeth Morgan.
Hi, my name's Allison Hoover, and I'm a community member in the Nestor area, Outer Highlands, over by Emory. I'm a fourth generation family in the area, and my child goes to Emory. I've been speaking the last couple weeks at town halls because the board, I guess, changed their mind and put Emory on the chopping block without our knowledge. We trust you guys, we elected you guys, and you guys came out of nowhere, and it's kind of unnerving. So for all the people out there that weren't able to see yesterday's town hall, I wanted to share some information that I was able to share yesterday. We waste too much money on simple solutions. Changing ideas after going one way for almost a year is a waste. We are overpaying for simple solutions, $400,000 annually for the consultant. That's the same amount of money that the POTUS is paid annually as well. Moving Nestor to Mendoza would only cost $600,000 portable and not change their enrollment. And you could put the district office at Nestor. No more failing trailers necessary. Mendoza is only 100 yards away or less from Emory, not too hard for transportation or change in their environment. Emory is the only school in the district meeting the ELA state standards. Our school has the best test scores and the best attendance. Our school is also a multi-generational school. It was established in 1862. It's still here, it's still used, and a staple to where we live. My son and his grandmother attended the kindergarten class in the same exact classroom. Almost 57 years difference. He got the benefit of, fortunately, a post-COVID education and from bond funds that had already been spent and modernization already completed. For what? To be your district office? Use Nestor. Move them to Mendoza. If you want to close 3 of only 12 schools, that's 9. Why do we need a superintendent making $335,000 annually plus benefits? And that's as much as, that actually is more than our governor makes. And he is running the 7th largest economy. And our superintendent is discussing closing 3 schools, making that many less. That's ridiculous if you ask me. We have 8 assistant superintendents at the time, this time. They're costing us over $1 million annually plus their benefits. Emory has the highest rating on great schools at a 4.2 stars, best in the district. But you guys want to talk about closing it? It's the only attractive school via ratings online. Close Emory and you're closing a chapter in the history books. If you guys choose to close Emory, you're choosing to close a chapter in our children's lives as they know it. And if you close a chapter in our community as well. Instead, I think you guys need to find a way to close the gap in the money spent on FAT. Please save our schools. And finally, as a parent, if you guys close Emory, I know at least 110 other parents that have discussed that we will be leaving the district, so you'll be losing even more.
Elizabeth Morgan.
Hi. Basically feeding off of what she said, I am one of the other parents who my child literally wanted to go to Emory. That was it. Her other option was in Chula Vista. I told her no because Emory was closer. If Emory's closing, we're just going to Chula Vista School District. They have better numbers and everything, and it's just smarter to do that. It makes her happier. She even spoke at the meeting yesterday, and her opinion, she doesn't want to go to school anymore, period, if Emory closes, but that's not an option for her. So I've told her she could go to the school with her best friend because we're a military family. So we have friends in other districts. If Emory closes, half of that school is going to another district. It's not going to save you money to close that school. It's going to cost you more. Y'all make money per kid, per attendance. Emory has the highest attendance, so you're making good money from their attendance. Doesn't make any sense to close it. And then turning it into a district office makes even less sense. Like, why do they need that much space? Like, none of it makes any sense. at all, and no one's answered any of our questions. We've questioned that at each one of the meetings, and still no one's placed out why. Why do you need a new district office? Why does this not work? What are you guys doing? Like, I don't want my child to have to move schools, but literally when I moved here, that was the only school suggested to me, other than everybody in this community telling me to go to Chula Vista, that our schools are horrible unless it's Emory. That's not a good look. And then you guys are going to close the one school that everybody online suggests kids go to. Also not a good look. But that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Jeanette Sanchez, followed by Katrina Reynolds.
Good evening. I wrote a speech this time because speaking from my heart just leads to me getting emotional. So good evening, board members, superintendent, district staff, and community members. My name is Jeanette Sanchez, a 16-year educator and 12 of those here in South Bay. I'm also a parent of an alumni and 2 current students still in South Bay. Before I begin, I do want to clarify something that was brought up at the last meeting. I shared about my participation at the LCAP committee. And I know there was a question on me as a parent, as a staff member. My role there is a parent, first and foremost. That is my job. I hope there's no confusion. I hope there's no question on it. I think it's important that we have as many parents as possible there. Now, the reason I came here today is I want to advocate for Emory. We recently received a Purple Star School recognition, which was publicly acknowledged on the district website. The California Purple Star School Designation Program seeks to reduce the burden on military-connected students and their families by articulating the most critical transition supports for military-connected students and their families. And they publicly designate schools that meet these requirements. The program signals schools which are the most committed and best equipped to meet these unique needs. This is Emory. With that being said, I'm also a military spouse, and this is something that I am very proud of. As a parent, when our family members go out, when we have a PCS and we have to move to who knows where, which we have no control over, our lives are turned upside down. As a parent with my last PCS, I had to find a school for my kids, a school that I would look at their test scores. Are they doing well? Check. Do they have different community events that my kids are going to be able to enjoy when daddy's not home? Check. I just moved back from across country. I chose Emory. Emory filled that need for my family, and Emory is filling that need for other families, which is why Emory just received this award. I understand that there is a lot of change that needs to happen and that, or is said to be needing to happen. I don't know everything, but I do know that if something is working and it's working right and it's being recognized, why do you need to mess with it? Just leave it alone. Find something else. Emory is performing well academically. It's not the best, and we all know that, and that's why we're working on stuff, and that's very well known. But we're doing well. We're working hard. They've just received this award. We have a community schools grant in process. So can we just not look at Emory for right now? Can we look at other options? That's all I'm going to ask. Thank you to Ms. Poley, who she is a military counselor at Emory, and she's doing an amazing job with my boys and other military kiddos. Thank you.
And I will.
Hey guys, you're all gonna have to forgive me because I'm really not a public speaker. I actually get the shakes, so give me a little bit of grace. I underestimated how much my people were going to say, so they knocked off a lot of things off of my list, so I'll just make it simple. There's some things that I wanted to say out loud to you guys, some things that you might already know, but that video was really great. Unfortunately, some of those kids' families have already committed to pulling them from the district if they close the schools or their school. So you might have to make that new video or just have kids in it that aren't in the district. Following what Jeanette said, I think it's a reasonable request now to ask for you guys to put Emery's conversation on the bench for a little bit. I've worked in the district for 10 little years comparatively to the other people in this room. And if it wasn't for Emory, I wouldn't even be working with kids anymore. It took me a while to get a job there instead of just subbing there because there's no turnover. The kids stay. And as soon as I got there, I knew I would stay because when I got there, there was a little girl in 5th grade, her older sister working as a instructional assistant, and her mom working as a behavioral assistant. And that's just the first story that I encountered. Emory is a place like that. I've never been on a campus in this district that feels like Emory. So I really think that's all I have to say now. I hope you guys heard what I said. Hope you take it to heart.
Sam Gunsel.
So I'm going to start this off by letting everyone in this room, like I did last night, let them know that I'm a disabled veteran. My husband is currently active duty.
Ma'am, if you could address the board, please.
Is that better?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Did you all hear me before that? Okay. My husband is currently active duty. He picks orders this month. We've been in this district for 10 years, and you want to separate my children from each other.
Board President, you need to address the board, please.
Oh, sorry. I'm not used to talking to this anymore. Sorry. Can I direct it to everyone right here instead of just you?
So public comment is meant to be comment to the Board of Trustees. That is the purpose of.
Okay.
So if you
So-
could just talk to us, please, and welcome.
So Board of Trustees, President, Superintendent, Miss Amy Cooper. We've been in this district for 10 years. My husband picks orders this month, literally next week, actually. We don't know where we're going to go. We don't know if we're going to be lucky to stay in this district for another 2 years to finish out his contract. We've already made the decision that if my kid's homeschool closes because of superintendent's plan, we're leaving. I will remove my kids from this district, from this state entirely, to go back home to the East Coast. Because I can't drive because of my disability. As you can see, I can barely walk because of my disability. I can't walk from Emory to Mendoza and then back to a middle school. I just can't. Transportation isn't an option for us because we live too close to the schools that they would be attending. So either keep these schools open and redirect the money that y'all have decided to spend sporadically and not in the right direction, or you're going to lose more and more and more money until this district isn't even on this map.
That was the last comment.
Thank you.
Trustee Liker, can I just make a clarification? I just want to clarify some of the comments that are being shared, which is appropriate. This is a time to share comments and what you're thinking about, whatever's going on in our district. But I just want to clarify that currently, and as the board knows, we are going through a process of feedback. There was a committee made up of the community that came up with some options, some ideas that they are going to present to me as a superintendent. Once we have all those options, all those different ideas, we're going to come up with a plan. We're going to try to put it all together, and then we're going to present that to the board. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands the process, because it seems like some people may have the understanding that the board or somebody is already putting Emory on the closing list, right? Currently, there isn't a closing list. All there is right now is brainstorming around how many schools we need to serve the 5,000 plus students that we have in our district. So I just want to make sure that everybody, those listening in Zoom world, understand that we are going through a process right now. So decisions haven't been made. When the committee, we're done with our with our town halls. We had 2 of them for a total of 5 town hall meetings. Once all that information is put together, we're going to come up with a draft recommendation. That's when that'll be recommended to the board. And at that point, the board will be able to ask questions, make some decisions. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that that's the process that we're in the middle of right now. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. All right, next up, we have Assistant Superintendent Regalara for a presentation on the second interim budget report.
Good evening, President Liker, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Espinosa, staff and community. The second interim report identifies changes through January 31st, 2025, changes to our adopted budget, which was adopted in June. Just a quick reminder of the process to submit the report. Obviously, the fiscal department develops the report. Prior to tonight, 6 days prior to tonight, the report is posted in the board agenda and available for the public to view. We're currently at step 3, where the board will be asked to approve the submittal of the report to the San Diego County of Education. And tomorrow, submit tomorrow? Yes, sir. And tomorrow we'll be submitting, after the board president signs the report, to the county office. Our annual budget cycle, again, our July 1st is the start of every fiscal year. We changed it up a bit from last time. Hopefully it's a little cleaner for you. And as a reminder, the budget is updated throughout the year, constantly updating it internally. But we provide 2 updates to the board throughout the year. The first one in December, an update through October 31st. In January, the governor's budget proposal, the governor shares his budget proposal for the following fiscal year. So at this time, we are not only working on the current budget, we're also preparing for next year's budget. And here we are tonight in March, providing the second interim report. Again, that's an update through January 31st. Coming in the next few months, in May, the governor updates his January proposal. That's the May revision. And then in June, we have the public hearing of the LCAP and the proposed budget, which then is adopted in June. And then we start again. July 1st, 2025, we start a new fiscal year. So that's the cycle. It is the same each and every year. And we are again providing that budget update to the board and the public throughout the year. Getting ahead of the recommendation, and we are recommending a positive certification, meaning that the district can meet its financial obligations for the current year and the next 2 years. And as a reminder, a qualified certification is that a district may not be able to meet its financial obligations in the current year or the next 2 years. And a negative certification is stating that a district cannot meet its financial obligations during that current year or the next fiscal year. So we don't want that. And next, I'm going to ask Director Meadows to present on the financials.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just want to do a little clarification. And yes, we are submitting to the county tomorrow, but we work with the county and our advisor throughout the process during the budget. So it will not be the first time they're seeing it. Here we have the unrestricted and restricted revenues. You can see that our local or our base funding from the local funding formula is our biggest source of revenues. Comes from students being in their seats. Second is state revenues like state for SPET, and also federal, which also includes a little bit less SPET funding there. Now here we have unrestricted and restricted expenditures combined. As you can see that our biggest expenditure is staff cost. I mentioned before that we're a people-centric district, and that's where the majority of our expenditures come from. Next, services and books and supplies. This slide here is the important one. It's unrestricted funded, or LCFF funding, which the district can use as we see fit to serve our kids, which is our main goal, right? To serve our kids and students. Here is where you see that salaries and benefits, so staff costs, are about 90.7% of our expenditures. Over here, you can see the breakdown there of salaries, benefits per classification. Those percentages will be adjusted at unaudited actuals. Those are just projections at the moment. Our second biggest expenditure is services and other operating costs. Here we have a breakdown of one-time funding. All of you know that ESSER funding is done. We've been done for a little while. We have a little bit of learning recovery grant in arts and music, but we're pretty much, the district is coming to an end with a lot of this one-time funding. We have about 2.5 million right now, and I am projecting by the end of the year we're going to be down to about 2.1 million in one-time funds. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a future slide in regards to that one-time funding. Here we have an overview from adopted budget to second interim. Some of the variances is, we already touched on the variance 1.1 million from the beginning balance in adopted budget to second interim. The other one I want to touch on is expenditures. We've had an increase in expenditures at about 2 million. And a good one is contributions. We have a net gain of $410,000. That's due to the district receiving this year an extra $1 million for SPET, which reduced our contribution amount from the unrestricted side, leaving us at the end with an increase of 2.1 million from adopted budget to second interim, leaving us with about a 36.7 million ending fund balance in unrestricted funds.
Director Mares,
Yes, sir.
can you repeat what you said about the special education we received?
Yes, so there's the county, San Diego County Office of Ed did an adjustment from our for our special ed revenues. In detail, another district received revenues that we should have received, and they had made it. They're making an adjustment this year, so we're getting those revenues back, and we had not accounted for those revenues yet. So now they're reflected in our reducing our contribution and increasing our restricted revenue. So we never get enough special ed funds to cover special ed education in our district. That usually it requires about a $15 million contribution from our unrestricted funds to special ed. The board had asked us to show some financials on our charter schools, and we're presenting that here today. I won't go too much into detail, but our beginning fund balance for Nestor this year was $7.7 million. They are expected to spend about $10 million, and they're expected to have an ending fund balance about $11 million. Now that ending fund balance will more than likely change. So the district provides services to the charter schools, but they're their own LEAs. And we must recoup a lot of the services that we provide to them and that we spend money from unrestricted funds from the district. We need to recoup those funds back. So that ending fund balance might be adjusted by unaudited actuals. And that is called a mega chargeback at this district. In the case of Imperial Beach Charter School, their beginning fund balance was 1.1 million. They're expected to have about $7.1 million in expenditures and ending fund balance about $2.7 million. Again, that will be adjusted at unaudited actuals when we have the actual expenditures that they will hit.
And if I could just pause you and go
Yes, sir.
back to the IB charter school, I just want to recognize IB, and probably shouldn't be doing this right now, but I know a few years ago, IB was really struggling with their budget, and they have implemented the changes they needed to implement to end with a positive fund balance.
Absolutely. Now we're going to move on to the multi-year projection. And this is where I mentioned the one-time funds. They really will have an impact on our multi-year projections. All those one-time sources of funds ending will have an impact. So the multi-year projections is required by state law, AB 2756. The one thing we know about MYP and multi-year projections is that they will change. They're good, just like budget, from what we know now at this moment in time. And as we know, things change. The governors may revise. And even after we adopt the budget, there might be changes at the state level. Here you guys can see we'd like to see the impact of declining enrollment in our district over the past few years. The main, that number right there, the $5 million it's a big impact. It's a big decrease because of declining enrollment to our unrestricted funds and base funds that we receive from the state for the kids being in their seats. So even though we have a COLA, we're actually experiencing even though we have that one COLA, it doesn't make up for what we're experiencing in decrease in funds because of declining enrollment. You can see in 23-24, our LCFF funds, local control funding formula, was 59 million. In 24-25, we're expected to be at $54.6 million. That's where that $5 million is right there, that difference. So even though we have a COLA of 1.07%, we still have a funding decrease of $5 million. So it doesn't make up for that decrease in funding decrease because of enrollment. That's an 8.43% decrease from last year. Fixed costs are about 3%. That doesn't even include tariffs with the new administration and everything. So that's just increase in fixed costs, and there's so many other additional costs that we were experiencing, not just the district, but other agencies as well. Here are some of the assumptions that we are taking into consideration. They will change. In fact, our COLA for 25-26, we were looking about 2.92 or 2.93 earlier in the year. Now it's down to 2.43. So as we get the May revise, the numbers will change. Some of the impact is decline in enrollment. We already spoke about that. STIRS has been remained constant. PERS is increasing, even though the projections have decreased for the out years. There's still an increase in the PERS cost. Health and welfare rates, they keep increasing year over year. And SPED costs. SPED cost is one of the biggest cost increase for the district with that $15 million expected contribution every year. Year over year, it's a big cost to the district. Here we see this is where the eye opener is going to be. This is your MYP. You're going to be looking at the ending fund balance for the next couple of years. And as you can see, our current year expected ending fund balance is at 36.7. You saw that earlier today. But our deficit spending, it's definitely having an impact in the next 2 years to our ending fund balance and that savings accounts we have. We really have to get the deficit spending under control so that it stops pulling from our ending fund balance. So our ending fund balance for 25-26 is expected to be at $22.1 million now. And I'll hit on that a little bit. I mentioned I was going to talk about it. That's due to a lot of the staff costs that were being paid from one-time funds. Those one-time funds are ending now, and now they're going to start hitting our unrestricted costs. and it's gonna start increasing our deficit spending more. For fiscal year 26-27, our expected ending fund balance at this moment is $7.1 million. And that's a big eye opener for the district. We're a very people-centric district, so a lot of our costs are going to people, and we take care of our people in this district. But it just shows how much money the district is spending on staff. Here we see where the district has committed our ending fund balance. Those 36.7 million, I'm only gonna touch on a couple of those. Field trips and sixth grade camp, we have $1.9 million there. The sixth grade camp will be updated at unaudited actuals. We'll have a true cost of how much the district has used from that commitment and expended during the year. So you'll see an updated number in that line coming out at actuals. Another one is technology. The district upgrades their technology, their iPads and Chromebooks. We work with technology, so that commitment has been reduced by the amount this year, expected expenditures, and it will continue to decrease as every year as we spend those monies down. And I'll ask Superintendent Lara to come up and talk about the challenges.
Thank you. So I'll speak a little bit on the next couple of slides of our next steps around budget and what we need to really consider and look at moving forward regarding our budget challenges, not only for us, but just throughout the state. We're, as you know, we're dependent on the economy. We're public agencies, so the California economy, we are always keeping an eye on to see how it impacts us. We've already talked about declining enrollment. We know that attendance still has not reached at the level that we were pre-pandemic. It's not only about enrollment that's important, but kids need to be in school. I like to always start by add that it's to learn, right? We need to be at school to learn, but there is a financial impact when kids do not come to school as well. We touched on the one-time funding. It's pretty much down to just a couple $1 million. So we need to really look at moving forward, what we're going to do regarding those expenditures that were being funded by the grants. Increased costs that you're feeling at home. We also, as a district, have to go through those increased costs and deal with them as well. And we touched on special education. Again, with budget, many times things happen that we just couldn't envision. We tried to do our best to assume things and predict things that may happen. We use the expertise of the state and what they tell us and other agencies. But some things just happen that are just we weren't able to predict. Again, the economy we're always keeping an eye on. Extreme weather events truly affect the state and many times school districts. The LA wildfires, again, something we would not have predicted. Now there's an extension for all of LA County. And what the challenge with that is that it's challenging for the state to, well, it's not challenging. The state will not know its true revenues until after October. So they're going to make some assumptions on what state revenues will be and what school districts will be receiving. But that true number will not be known until after all tax receipts are received. Federal government, the tariffs is a big one. We don't know how it will affect us. We just know that it will. When it comes to receiving and purchasing goods from Canada, China, and Mexico, you're pretty much identifying all the other countries that the U.S. receives goods from or creates products that we purchase. So again, we don't know what the impact will be, but just an idea, if it's 10, 15, 20%, you are talking about a huge increase in our expenditures around materials and supplies. And Assembly Bill 218, again, that's an unknown cost to us. We do know the cost year by year. They do let us know and give us the heads up on what our contribution would be to pay the litigation. But moving forward, it's an unknown because we do not know what payouts will be in the future moving forward. That is why you also saw a commitment in the amount of $1.5 million because we need to make sure that we have some funding for those future costs around sexual abuse litigation. Our next steps, the governor will provide the update to his January budget proposal in May. Once that is updated, we will begin to update our budget that we look to adopt in June. As you know, school consolidation, we will be asking the board to take action in the next couple of months or hopefully in April. You see the other couple items there. And it's been mentioned that next week we will have a special study session with the San Diego County of Education to talk more about our financials and next steps that are needed. A good thing to always revisit and think about is that when we have a healthy school budget, then that is what's good for the community, for staff and our kids. So always thinking about what we need to do to ensure we have a budget that's able to serve our kids and community. And we'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. Riga, Mr. Murata, thank you very much for your presentation. It's like an eye opener. I mean, I see the numbers and doesn't look like it's going to get any better. Assumptions. I was looking at the multi-year ending fund balance. So from 36 million year 24-25, and then goes to 25-26, 22 million, and 26-27 down to 7 million. So I wonder what's going to happen down the road, like 3 years from now.
So I can only answer what we will be working on moving forward, and it's our job to reduce those expenditures and ensure that we're not deficit spending. What it would look like in 3 years, my hope is that deficit spending has decreased so much that it's not an issue. In fact, that we don't have deficit spending. But that does require some challenging and difficult conversations, and it requires some action. Again, that will be hard to make a decision on. I understand that, but we cannot just allow, as of today, that's what it is. But we do not anticipate 3 years from now that it will be that, because it is our job to make sure it doesn't get to that point.
So at what point is that going to be the qualified certification to the negative certification? Is there a dollar amount that we're like, okay, this is the warning? What's that amount at?
So currently our 5% reserve is approximately 5 million in that neighborhood. When we're not able to fulfill our reserve, that's when we start getting into qualified and negative conversations.
Let me clarify that a little bit. So we have a state law, it's 3%, and the board adopted a 2% additional on the on that 5% reserve. At the time, if we are not able to meet the 5% reserve, the board will have to approve a resolution to reduce our 2% to the 3%. And at the moment that we can meet our 3% reserve, we will be in qualified status.
Thank you.
And then what happens when we're in qualified status?
Oh, and if I miss anything, feel free to add. We would have to have a third interim report. But if we have a qualified status, we need to reverse that. So again, that requires action, that requires a plan, a extended plan to reduce expenditures and to ensure we're not, and to ensure we're able to meet our financial obligations.
I would like, our goal is not to be in qualified status and to make all the adjustments necessary to meet our, prior to getting there. So qualified status remains even if we have a planning kit in place for a year with the district. It means that we may not meet our
So what I'm hearing is we're trying to take preventative measures now so that we're not in an emergency state of having to cut expenditures quickly and drastically to not be in qualified status.
I will, yeah, correct. And I will share districts who wait and who kind of the saying, what is it, kick the can down the road? Those are the districts you see in the news. Those are the districts that you see having true fiscal crisis, and you see organizations like FICMAC coming do the risk analysis and really look and take over possibly sometimes the districts. So again, districts, organizations that wait till the last minute because now they have no choice. Those are the districts that end up having major issues. What we have in front of us, it is what it is, but we have time to make adjustments and make sure that we'll never get to that point.
when it's such a moving target to try to hit, I see, like especially when we have so much going on with our new administration and inflation and just all kinds of unknowns. So thank you so much for your hard work in that, try to hit that moving target. So when we're looking at these 3 years out and the numbers, are we also taking into consideration what the budget would allow as we move forward with negotiations and sunshining new, like, is that already calculated in there? Or is that not? Does that make sense?
I think so, and I think what you're asking is do we use information to make decisions on how?
No, so, okay, so.
So I want to be very careful
Oh.
that I'm not answering a
Thank-
question
thank-
that should only be answered within a session of negotiations. I just want to.
Got it. This is only what's happening now. This is only what's happening now.
This
It's not
information-
looking at any current, this is the numbers if everything stayed the same right now.
Correct,
I
and
guess.
that is
I
always.
guess I just wanted that clarification. I
Correct.
wasn't asking for a number specifically, but this is just what we're looking at now. Okay, thank you.
Always what it is today, and behind the scenes, we're always trying to see how we can reduce those expenditures and what we can put in place to help that out.
And I would just add, if there are any changes, then the business office recalculates that and we'll share it out again.
I just wanted to say that looking at all these numbers is extremely frustrating and upsetting because this is something that I feel is it's very political, right? It's not really up to us here. Like we have very little control about like the money, where it comes from, right? How we get it and all that. Because I know for a fact, all of us up here would love to be able to pay all of our teachers, right? All of the employees of the district, like a living wage, right? Enough to afford to have a house, and all that. But it's like, I know that like back in the 70s, the tax system was different, right? And there was a Prop 13 that was passed that a lot of like corporations have taken advantage of to get away from paying their fair share of property taxes, right? So we have like the biggest corporations in the whole country, a lot of them who are here in California, and they're getting away with not paying enough, right? We're missing out on billions of dollars that could be coming to these schools. And before that, schools in California were some of the top performing, best funded schools in the whole nation. Now we're kind of almost at the bottom, right? And it's all political. In most countries, people don't pay for healthcare, right? If we had like universal healthcare, it'd be something less that would be coming out of our budget, right? And it's so frustrating to hear all the families in this district who are military families, who are struggling to make ends meet, who are struggling to make sure that their kids have the proper education. When this state alone spends like $60 billion on defense spending. Can we get 1 billion to help fund our schools, right? Is there any way that we can like partner with like the military that's right down the street in order for them to like help support the education of the students, of the families who are putting their lives at risk every day to protect this country, right? So it's very frustrating for us to be sitting here and not be able to make the decisions that we want to make sure that our students and our families and the staff here live the life that they need to live, have the resources and the support that they have, when it's something that's like extremely political. So I really appreciate it when the parents come here and they yell at us about the budget. But I really would love for us to like work together with like our labor partners and like how do we organize the families in this district in order to be able to like educate them about like what is the root of the problem? Like who should we be yelling at? Because there's people in much higher offices that have the power to make these decisions and put money where it belongs. But obviously this country does not value teachers or even the children of this country, because we see it, like they say that budget is like a moral document, right? So, you know, if I put all my money that I got from my work into buying guns and security system for my house and my kids were starving, I don't think I would be doing a good job, right? So I just kind of say that to kind of remind people that it's not really us at the end of the day who we should be really mad about. We're working with what we got, but we need to work together to like change the laws and like redirect like the direction that this country is going to, because we have somebody that's basically the president or something of this country. It's like the Amy Cooper of the United States. I think his name is like something Musk, right? Who's got enough money to fund every freaking school in this country, right? Make sure everybody has a place to live, that has healthcare, that our children don't have to worry about how they're gonna pay for college. This one person could fund everything, right? But on the opposite, they're taking away the little bit that we have. They're taking away, trying to take away things like food stamps and like Medi-Cal for people, right? Or so that's just like my 2-minute TED talk for today. But I just want to let you guys know we're trying to figure it out. Like, how do we work with what we got? How do we improve the things? And I think a big part of it is like figuring out who's really on top, right? Who are the puppeteers that are really calling the shots, and really go after them. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you, Madam President. And Amy, you know, here's your checkbook. Thank you for your presentation. And trustees, last night in my evening, I had a special reading opportunity, which I read your budget book. So I want to compliment you on the easy reading. Although I can't find a school or their budget in the book. I'm still looking for those things. Okay, but I did read it. Okay. And so what I'm sharing is that when you allocate money to a fund or resource, then there's an expenditure, and then there's the actuals, and then you have your ending. Okay. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. So I just want to share that I understand that, but what I don't see is how much schools receive. And in this time of uncertainty, how much do the schools need to, what percentage does the school have to cut at the local level? You know, like the school site council might have to give 5 or 10% back. So, you know, that really impacts schools. So I just want to share that.
And if I can add to that, we were asked about what was, I think I called a friendly adopted budget. We weren't too sure what that was, but we did receive a copy from 2017 and 18. We did find it. I think she got enough kudos today. I'm not gonna, somebody provided it, Ms. Cooper. So we are looking at that, and for adopted budget, we will provide something very similar that will outline school budgets. So we have a copy. It's not, unfortunately, it's not an electronic copy, so we have to kind of recreate some things. But we do have that, and we will work on that. We just need a little bit more time.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Cooper. I knew I was sending people to the right place. I looked in my library and I just couldn't find one, but I knew you had one. So included in that book, I would like all budgets, department budgets, top down, board, superintendent, all the way down. That would be great when I'm reading your nighttime book. That way I can see, you know, the progression, the allocation of money. So it's sitting in the resource, right? And so the expenditure is like half. And then you have, you know, your actual number. So you just have a carryover. So the carryover goes into the next year's budget.
It depends on the resource, and the resource is the funding source of where the money is coming from. Some resources allow for carryover, some do not. But there's many resources.
So the title 1, 2, 3s, those are allocated to our title schools, all of them.
All of it.
And they're expected to spend every dollar every year. And if they don't, they have to send it back. to the district?
So title funds are allocated through the Educational Leadership Department and also to sites. Now, the expectation is that the monies are used for kids today, so this year. I know that in the past, there's been carryover rules, and if those still exist, I believe it was at 15%. But the idea is to spend it all.
And can I add to that? So title funds are attached to the school SIPSA plans. And yes, most schools do spend all their funds. There is some limited, title funds are limited. They're not abundant. So yeah, schools are expected to spend them down. There are some schools that have remaining funds and they do roll back to the district, but there's a limit amount, I believe 15% that can be carried over overall for the district from year to year. So we are required to spend those down.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you advise schools, I'm gonna just end here, but do you advise the schools to spend those title funds now?
Absolutely. So they, like I said, these are tied to the LCAP and the school site, the SIPSA plans, and they have a plan to spend those down. There's limited cases where something is not time, weather, some permitting, or a presenter didn't show up, or whatever the case may be, that something might not happen, where those funds might roll back. But usually there's a plan to spend all the funds down
Perfect.
by each school site.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I do require to take action.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Do I have a motion to?
I would like
approve?
to motion to recommend submission of the positive certification of the second interim financial report for 2024, 2025.
Second.
Call for the vote?
Esparza,
Yes.
Liker.
Yes.
Lopez Aguino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello again, Assistant Superintendent. We are going to have a presentation on the Energy Infrastructure Modernization Program.
Good evening, President Liker, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Espinosa, community, and staff. Tonight, we have an opportunity to take action on an energy project that will benefit all kids at all school sites, kids and their learning environments. Also, when we talk about some things that are, we talked about just right now about the budget, some things are out of our control. Some things are under our control though. So also with this project is potential, energy savings, so reducing our expenditures. So something that's good for kids, something that's good for our community and our school sites, but also that is good for our budget and being able to reduce our expenditures on a yearly basis for the next 20 years, energy savings. And that's also an opportunity for the board to provide input on the use of our bond dollars, our bond monies. So now I'd like to ask Shay Dibble to come up and the Verigy team, who will be able to provide more information regarding this project. Again, all the benefits to our community, to our kids, and to our staff.
Good evening, Board President Liker, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Espinoza, staff, and community. My name is Shay Dibble. I'm a senior manager and co-founder of Verigy, and I'm joined here today with my colleague, Prad Bittigere, who is a senior energy engineer, and we're here to present, as was told, on the energy savings project. We're very excited for this project, which has been really a year-long collaboration between Verigy and district staff. This project consists of HVAC replacements, lighting upgrades, plumbing replacement, fixture replacements, and other improvement measures that not only bring significant bottom line impact, significant cost savings, but also is going to help to create better learning environments to have better learning, right? Improving student outcomes. Before I continue, however, I just wanted to say thank you to Superintendent Espinoza, Rigo Laura, Francisco Franco, James Mayer, Jonathan Merez, and the district's council, and many others who have helped shape this project into one that's going to impact student outcomes. So just a quick note about us. Verigy is the largest K-12 energy services company in the country. TK12 is about 95% of what we do. We consider ourselves a real partner and collaborator of and with the district, and I'm hoping that this sort of becomes apparent in this presentation. One of the things that is super, I think, I find a lot of pride standing here before you because I am a resident of San Diego. I've got a long history in education with my parents. My kids went to school in San Diego public school, and I think that this is just really, really super. So thank you for the opportunity. The energy savings project has been developed along with district staff to meet your mission and values, especially around the area of safe and equitable environments. Trying to help the district through better learning environments towards academic achievement, leadership and safety and high expectations that the parents have of your schools. In the early stages of this project, the district staff really impressed upon us the need for this project to impact positively on student outcomes. And so what we did is we looked at ways in which we could align this project with your LCAP, for example, with pupil achievement, pupil engagement, and school facilities maintenance, with your FMP, your facilities master plan, with modernization, sustainability, and health and safety. And of course, later aligning, making sure that everything is aligned with your bond measures, QQ and PP, around HVAC plumbing, STEAM, and of course, providing safe, modern, and sustainable schools. Studies have shown, there's many, many studies out there. We're happy to give you these references. Studies show that improved learning environments improve learning, and this project hits on a number of those. So why this project? Not only does this meet the district's outcome directives, it also provides the district with a significant amount of energy cost savings that improves the district bottom line, as I indicated a little bit earlier, so that more of those funds can be spent on improving quality for your students. And in addition, it also provides some significant maintenance and operation savings, basically from new equipment. So equipment doesn't have to, you don't have to keep repairing it and chasing after it. Controls systems, so thermostats are working properly. Everything's integrated and aligned with your calendars and whatnot. And Prad will come up and speak a little bit about those individual measures and their individual impacts to the district. So I wanted to talk a little bit about where we've been and where we are. We've been working with the district since 2023, and even though this is a black and white photo, no, we are not in that photo, and I understand that sometimes a year feels like it may take that long in the education realm, but we started working as an advisor to the district on the CalShape Phase 1 process. Some of the highlights here as we got involved in learning about the district and what the district's wants, needs, and goals are, and certainly the needs of the schools. We immediately went after the state CalShape plumbing and Phase 2 ventilation program, where we helped the district receive a little bit greater than $4.9 million in state grants. And then most recently, in working with the district's council and a third-party verification company that the district brought in, they verified the energy savings of this project and the pathway. And of course, here we are tonight presenting this to you. So with that, I'd like to hand this over to Prad to go through some of the energy measures and their impacts.
Good evening, everyone. Like Shay mentioned, not only does this project contribute to improved student learning, it also contributes to a lot of energy savings. So last year, we spent a couple of months, going across the district, across all the 16 sites, looking at each energy system We did a district-wide energy audit, looked at about 17,000 lamps in total, and out of which we found about 10,500 of these, which were currently not LEDs. And as a part of this project, we would be upgrading those to LEDs. These not only provide better aesthetics, they also improve the learning environment. This is one of the low-hanging fruits that also provides the best savings. You would achieve about 456,000 kilowatt hours in savings, which is about $156,000 in utility cost savings. In addition to lighting, we also looked at your plumbing or water fixtures. As a part of this project, a little over 1,100 fixtures would be replaced. That is faucets, toilets, urinals, and shower heads. Out of these 1,100, about 340 of these are funded by the CalShape program, which gives us about $1 million in grant funding. The remaining 766 units will be covered by the savings achieved as a part of this project. The total savings achieved as a part of the plumbing project alone is about 4.9 million gallons of water, which is about $97,000 in utility cost savings. We did look at the HVAC systems, which contribute to the most energy usage across the district. We looked at hundreds of units and eventually settled down on about 243 package units across all sites. Among these 243, about 87 of these qualified for CalShape Phase 2 ventilation funding, which gave us about $4 million in grant funding. The remaining of these is covered by the energy savings, and the district would achieve about 48,000 kilowatt hours in energy savings and about $141,000 in utility cost savings, which is energy and demand savings. Not only, installing energy efficient HVAC units is important, but it is also important to upgrade the building envelope, such as, sealing door seals and, upgrading your weather stripping, so that you do not lose conditioned air. Now, this indirectly helps reduce odor and pest infiltration as well. Along with this, you achieve about 13,800 kilowatt hours in savings and about $9,900 in utility cost savings. Now, to sort of bring all of this together, we are upgrading the control system across all sites. Currently, the district has 3 different control systems, and we are proposing to integrate it all into one system. So that would provide a single pane of glass so that your facilities personnel could look at one single window and get a better feel and better visibility of how much energy is being spent across the district. Overall, across these 5 different ECMs or energy conservation measures, you would save about 650,000 kilowatt hours of electricity, about 3,800 therms of gas, and about 4.9 million gallons of water and sewer, which results in about $414,000 in annual energy savings. Which when extrapolated across 20 years with a 5.5% escalation factor, which is, utility cost rises and inflation, is about $14 million in cumulative savings. With that, I will hand it back to Shay. Thank you.
One of the things that I love about my job is that I get to deliver good news. Most of the time, it's good news. Sometimes it's not. We work together to fix it. But this time, it really is good news. And one of the things that you heard Prod say a number of times was the energy cost savings of this project is essentially going to pay for itself, right? We saw, for example, the HVAC replacements. We were able to bring in a grant to pay for some of that equipment. And of course, the energy project covers the remaining. What that means is the energy cost savings that they are generate is going to go right back into paying for that equipment. So we have a really good payback here. And I'll share these financials with you right now. You all have them in front of you. But for others that don't, the total project cost is $13.9 million to do all of these measures. And yes, that's a lot. The good news is that we were able to, along with the district, to secure $4.9 million, dollars that you are now not going to have to spend, dollars that are going to supplant your bond dollars. So those other bond dollars can go further. It represents about 35% of the total project amount. So this is a significant reduction in the project cost. So that's really where the good news lies. So the district's total contribution is about $9 million. Now, the first year energy cost that Prod mentioned a moment ago is $414,000. Now that amount rises every single year due to rising energy costs and what have you. But that is $414,000 that you are not spending on your utilities. You're not giving that to another organization. You're essentially giving that back to yourself. And over time with that escalation that Prad mentioned, we're looking at about $14.4 million in benefit to the district over a 20-year period. So there is a definite payback way before that. But one of the things that's not on here, I feel like a little bit of a commercial saying, but wait, there's more, is that there is significant maintenance and operations savings that we don't have here. We estimate that maintenance and operations savings to be about $4.5 million over 20 years in addition to the 14, bringing the total close to $20 million over 20 years, excuse me. And that's really due to what I mentioned earlier, which is newer HVAC units that don't have to be chased down. They're not going to be as cold, so people aren't going to have to run around and fix things. Light bulbs don't have to be changed out as often. Controls will enable the visibility into the systems, as Prad had said. So that energy savings will be on top of this 14,000. Now, we're never quite sure of what the future holds. So that's why we don't include them in the 14.4. They were not vetted by that third party that the council provided. So they don't really show up here in the calculations, but I do want to say there is going to definitely be some benefit there. So with that, I just want to recap briefly that this project really does align with the district student outcome drivers through the energy cost savings that we talked about and improved learning facilities. And we're super excited about this project and for you. And we look forward to the board's approval. Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to have some good news, like you said, following the interim report. Any questions or comments?
Thank you so much for your presentation. It sounds like a very good deal. It sounds like it's a lot of money to be invested, and it's definitely will benefit the district. So I got quite a few questions, if you don't mind. So you say you started at 2023 working with this program, the CalShape program?
That's correct.
Okay. So when you guys talking about having everything done, plumbing, HVAC, AC, maintenance, is that so that entitles the entire time that you're going to be working on, and where's the warranties on that?
So the warranties are provided by Verigy and its subcontractors on the labor. And of course, we extend the warranties from the manufacturers so that those are passed through for certain. And was there a question about the CalShape program?
Yeah, so you guys just started last year, the CalShape. Is this the only district you guys been applying for, or some other district?
For the entirety of the CalShape program, we've worked with close to 90 or so districts on the phase 1. And really, there are only a handful of districts that received fundings for CalShape phase 2. So the phase 1 portion, we assisted as an advisor. You had another vendor in here that was doing the CO2 monitors and the filters and the assessments. And we came alongside that vendor in the district to help, based on our vast knowledge of the program, to help ease the process. The program was a little difficult for everyone involved. And because we had been through the ringer so much with it, we were able to provide some guidance. The phase 2 portion is for the replacement of HVAC units. And that program opened and closed very, very quickly. And so there were a limited number of districts that did receive grant funding. I believe you were one of, and I may be misspeaking, maybe one of 20 or so that received funding for that based on the short window and the extreme amount of effort it took. But we did get the grant for the district, and we're pleased about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you also mentioned that you guys do subcontractors, right? So you have give the job to somebody else to do all the work. Is that
That's correct? Yes.
So is any warranties on their labor as far as subcontractors is concerned?
They will offer warranty, absolutely. They will offer warranty on their labors and it'll be contracted with the district. So if anything happens with that, we have a reasonable time. We've negotiated a reasonable time with the district to cure those issues. And if there's ever an issue with a piece of equipment, we'll come back and make sure that it gets taken care of either through that particular subcontractor or a subcontractor that's available.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And I'm almost done.
No, that's
Bear
okay.
with
These
me.
are great. These are
So
good
you
questions.
talked about the total project cost 13,971. So the grants is almost $5,000. So total contribution, when you say contribution, who's paying the $9 million?
Those are the district contributions to the project. So it's essentially the cost of the project to the district. So the total project cost is 13.9 roughly. The grant of $4.9 million will then bring the total down to $9 million, which is the obligation of the district.
So the 9 million, is that gonna be paid within a certain amount of years, or how does that work?
Yes, there will be certain milestone payments that are made out over time.
Okay, time kind of roughly
I'd say roughly 2 years.
within 2 years.
Yeah, within 2 years.
Okay, is that covered under the PP or QQ bonds that was passed
Both.
recently?
Yes, both.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Thank you so much. I was doing some little background investigating. You have a great social online presence. I read some comments on your page and some projects that you have done and the money that was returned to these districts by having this program. Thank you for all your work to get to this space. Regarding the subcontracts, I was reading I read the whole thing. So it's like, what you just said is like, are you getting the workers or are we going to hire the workers, subcontractors?
So the subcontractors will typically come under the general contractor like us.
Yeah.
We have contractors that meet all of the basic requirements of the district and of the state. They are licensed, they are bonded, and they are fully insured, workers' comp and otherwise.
It was interesting. You have a check sheet there in your contract, and what came to me is just like, you have no Iran construction. I thought that was quite interesting. in the state of
That's
California.
actually the district's, we're using the district's contract. So the district provided us that contract and we've accepted that contract.
Super, super.
Yeah.
And so, what you've outlined in your agreement here, if it's passed, that workers that come on school sites are going to be background check,
Fully.
TB, et cetera, et
Fully.
cetera. And will they come in after school or during school or do we have that schedule or no?
We're currently developing the schedule with, once the board approves the
Yeah.
project, we'll work with district staff to get the schedule appropriately set for the school, each individual school site. Most of the time, we're going to be working swing shifts and after hours so as not to disrupt students, especially when we're bringing in HVAC units or on the roof. We can't have students in the classroom. From a safety perspective, we want to certainly separate students from construction.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And keeping this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's my receipt.
Very good. I like it.
Okay, do we have a motion to adopt the resolution 24-012 approving an energy services agreements with?
I'm sorry to interrupt the public hearing first. Yeah, we need to have a public hearing first prior to taking action. Sorry for the interruption.
Thank you. No, thank you.
We can't hear you.
Oh, public hearing called to order at 8:01.
There are no public comments.
Thank you. Adjourned at 8:01. So now do I have a motion to adopt resolution 24-012 approving an energy services agreements with Verigy LLC.
So moved.
Second.
Call for the vote?
Esparza,
Yes.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Aquino,
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you so much. We look forward to providing updates over the next couple of years on the progress. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Human Resources Resolution 24-019. We recognize Assistant Superintendent Melissa Griffith for a presentation on Resolution 24-019.
And we do have a public comment whenever you're ready.
Should we do that first? Or,
Definitely do it before you vote. I'd let Melissa
Okay.
present and then.
thank you.
Yes.
Good evening, President Liker, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Espinosa. It is respectfully requested that you adopt a resolution 24-019 regarding the elimination release of certificated positions as outlined in your board materials and direction to notify any affected employees.
Thank you. We have public comment.
Vanessa Barrera.
Good evening again. Regarding Resolution 24-019, which proposes the elimination of one school psychologist and an education specialist position, I wish to express our concern around this elimination. Specifically, the elimination of the district level psychologist position raises significant questions about the support for our special education hubs at Nikolov and San Isidro. These sites, with their high concentration of special education classes, have relied on this position, particularly for IEP compliance, behavioral observations, and additional support to reduce the workload on the specialist. How will these hubs be adequately serviced following this reduction? Furthermore, the proposed reduction of the education specialists will exacerbate existing caseload pressures. Our current specialists are already managing substantial workload with caseloads that are high, either at or above the 28 caseload cap. We must consider the impacts of this increased burden on both our members and our students. I respectfully request answers to the following. So how will Nikolov and, sorry, I said Sunny Slope earlier, but it's Oneonta, not Sunny Slope. So how will Nikolov and Oneonta's special education hubs be supported after the psychologist position is eliminated? Is there a plan to maintain adequate support for the special education hubs? Have the potential impacts of increased workload on the education specialists and specialists been thoroughly evaluated? And who will assume the responsibilities previously held by these positions, or the district psychologist specifically, which just became vacant when the person that was holding that position became the coordinator. So what is our plan of support? We're concerned with the added workload to our members at those sites. So thank you.
Are those some questions we can have answered, clarification on?
We don't answer questions, the public comment questions, but I'm sure Assistant Superintendent Griffith will be able to reach out to Ms. Barrera and they can have that conversation.
So I call for the vote.
Sorry, so Ms. Griffin can answer the questions for us to make our decision.
Generally, we don't answer public comment questions during a board meeting, but if you have a question that you'd want to ask Assistant Superintendent Griffith at this point, you can ask that question.
Yeah, could you share with us like what the support will be for the folks over at Nicola and Sunny Slope if we do eliminate these positions, or Oneonta, sorry?
So I can share that Director Bevilacqua, who is the Director of Student Services, has been outlining a support plan that will continue supporting currently right now, as Ms. Barrera shared. The coordinator position has moved over, the person that was in that position, and the support services are maintaining at this time with that position change. So there is a plan in place that the director has come up with in terms of how to continue support without that additional position of the school psychologist that's currently vacant, that's housed at the district office.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Okay, I would like to motion to adopt Resolution 24-019 regarding the elimination release of 3 certified certificated positions and directions to notify affected employees.
Second. Call for the vote?
Esparza,
Yes.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Aquino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. We have now resolution 24-020. Assistant Superintendent Melissa Griffith for a presentation on
Good
this resolution.
Good evening again. President Liker, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Espinosa, it is respectfully requested that you adopt Resolution 24-020 regarding the elimination and reduction of classified positions as outlined in your board materials and direction to provide notification to any affected employees.
We have a motion? A second?
Oh,
A comment?
yes,
Thank
please.
you.
Thank you. Looking at these positions and knowing that the schools have looked at their budget going forward, so when we see a reduction in the workforce, say at Sunny Slope, they could position for a supervision assistant. That means that they have less enrollment and don't require that assistant, what is it called? Supervisor assistant for next year.
Correct. These are site level and department level recommendations based on their needs at their school sites or within their departments.
So being that it's local control, the schools that are outlining either a position and or a vacant position, it's because the school site council has recommended the reduction.
School site council has preview over some title funds. So any positions that are in those title funds, yes, these have been collaboration at the school site level through their school site council process. But the ones that are identified on here that are department recommendations, obviously that's not applicable, and or if there's funding sources that are outside of the title funds.
Thank you for that. In regards to the child nutrition department, some are vacant and some are reductions. And it's my understanding that the positions that are being reduced from central, a 6-hour position, being reduced back to a 3 3/4 as it has 2 years ago.
That is correct.
Right.
All of our kitchen lead positions are at that 3.75 mark.
Okay, so we're not changing the job. We're just reducing the hours.
Correct. To be in alignment with the other positions within the district that are kitchen lead classification.
Yeah. And so the lunch ladies, I just want to acknowledge that these positions have increased time because they worked past their regular hours for so many days. And so there were a lot of this time. And so at this juncture, the district is right sizing this expectation to the job. If it's 3 3/4, it's back to 3 3/4,
Correct. They're equaled back to what they started with.
what the job is.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, and on that note, I just want to thank the child nutrition ladies for their work. And this has nothing to do with their work. And I want to say thank you for stepping up. Please tell them. That's all.
So as I'm looking at the positions classifications, most of these positions are vacant, correct?
There's a significant number, as outlined, that are vacant. Some are vacant, some are not vacant. The ones that are not identified as vacant,
And
obviously
some,
have individuals in those positions.
I see. And some, they are working a limited amount of hours, correct?
Ask your question. I'm sorry, could you repeat your
And
question?
some of them, they are working, like, for instance, the lunch assistant, wait a minute, child nutrition assistant,
Mhm.
working 4.25 hours a day. So, it's just a limited amount of hours working.
Correct, correct.
Do we have a motion?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Esparza,
No.
Liker, Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Aguino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones. Quinones,
Gonna say yes, only because we have to. So if we don't start now, we're gonna be in big trouble tomorrow. So that's my vote.
motion
Yes.
passes 4-1.
Okay, next we have the consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar will be enacted in one motion in the form listed below. Prior to approval of the meeting agenda, there was an opportunity to request placing consent calendar items in the discussion action section of the board meeting. There will be no discussion on these items prior to the board vote. The superintendent and staff recommend approval, adoption, ratification, acceptance of all consent calendar items unless otherwise noted.
Okay, I move to approve all items on the consent calendar as listed, including the superintendent's recommendations for denial or approval of leave of absence.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Esparza,
Yes.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Aguino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
So now we have future agenda items. At this time, each trustee may suggest one topic for a future board meeting.
Madam President, I would like to suggest that you'd have a conversation with the superintendent in regards to our funding outlook in the next 6 months and bring that back to us.
Trustee Quinones, can I just, it's a future agenda item, so I want to make sure I understand the request. So I want to make sure I understand the request because it's a future agenda item. So your request is to give an update on our funding outlook in the next 6 months?
I would clarify that probably the federal funding that's in jeopardy right now. I know it's not do anything right now. So if there's any change, if we could bring that back.
Okay,
Thank you.
so it's not necessarily a future agenda item. You just want to be updated constantly around the changes. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have a future agenda items follow-up. We recognize the superintendent, Jose Espinosa, and provide direction on next steps on future agenda items from previous board meetings.
Thank you, President Liker. I'm sorry, this thing is kind of far away from me. We have 3 items, trustee Esparza, and I just want to remind the board that this is a time where the board reaches consensus on whether or not we want staff to, take time out of their regular work and then look into these items. So trustee Esparza requested a report on increasing parent engagement. And then trustee Liker suggested that the report also includes successful parent involvement initiatives at different schools. So I will turn it over to trustee Esparza to talk about that request.
So I brought this up because as you can see, our audience, it's pretty much very minimum. I would like to get parent representation, parent involvement. It's imperative. It's in every school site. I strongly believe that parent intervention, it's the goal, is the foundation for this, for the students. I believe that it's the key to success. If we wanted to be a competitive district, we need to get the parents involved. So I'd just like to get the parents participate or just to get involved. That's what I need to do. Every school site, I like it when they come in and they tell them about, they're trying to reach out to the parents. They're finding ways, different ways to attract parents. Coffee with the principal is the most common one, but I just want to see more. I want to just to reach out to our community and see what we can do as a district.
All right, board discussion.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We do definitely need to get more parents to these meetings and parents getting involved. I 100% support that. I'm curious, like, we're allowed to invite parents, right? Like to come to the meetings and all that. So, because I just kind of wonder, I'd like to kind of propose a challenge to my colleagues. And maybe, for the next board meeting, we can like set a goal of how many parents from like our trustee area we're gonna get to this meeting. I'd be happy to make some time to talk to the principals at the schools and figure out maybe we can attend some of the coffee with the principals and make an announcement, tell the parents how fun these meetings are, how exciting they are, how important it is for them to be here and share with us like whatever they feel, whatever is on their mind. Because we do want to encourage parent participation. So, I'd be really interested in figuring out how can we be more hands-on when it comes to inviting parents. So yeah, I 100% agree and support trustee Esparza's request.
I agree as well, and I feel like when we have more parent participation, there's clarification on the steps that we go through to make decisions, the procedures, and just clarification on any misunderstandings or miscommunications within like the community about our roles. And so any way that we can support that and have the most transparency possible to share correct information, I'm all for it.
I can hardly hear you. So could you share what you just said in a few words, Manny? What's your request? Because I couldn't hear you.
So just wanted to, every school, we have 12 schools in our district. Find ways to attract more parents, get parent involvement. That's what I'm asking. Finding ways to get parents involved, and not just the school sites, also in our beautiful auditorium, which is coming to do the board meetings. You know, just be informed. Let them know what's going on. This is where we at. Our children are, our students are not reading at grade level. Not all of them. We have this new reading program that we have is I mean, I read it, is getting the grades up a little bit, you know, it start to escalate more, but I just want the parents to get more involved. That's what I want.
So Superintendent, how much time? There's a lot of, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of information out there by schools on social media, on Instagram, Facebook. The schools also post their weekly bulletin that's available to the public. They often, it's our meeting on the 13th is there, inviting parents. So there's a lot of places that communication comes from. So I agree, we need more parents here. You know, could we raise a flag out there and say it's meeting day? Are we sure? Okay. But the question for the superintendent perhaps maybe is, you know, boosting our communication to the community and parents.
So as you can see, everything you just said, obviously it's not working 100%. You're just reaching out to a certain amount of parents, you know, and I'm pretty sure the district has done a lot, but I think it's a little bit more we can do. Find ways. Not sure how we're gonna do it, how we're gonna reach those parents, but we need to try a different strategy.
Okay, thank you. It sounds like we have consensus that this is something that the board wants us to look into. And as the board knows, we have Maria Osborne, who's our parent support specialist in the district. And I believe that, you know, she is more than willing to come to the board and give an update or presentation around some of those initiatives that we do have around the district. And then the board has an opportunity to provide any feedback.
Thank you, Superintendent.
All right, the next item, Trustee Esparza also requested an update on the garden guidelines, and we did send those guidelines in the Friday update last week. And so hopefully, you know, that was what you were looking for. But if that is not, then this is the time to, you know, expand on that or clarify what your request is.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And then the last item, Trustee Lopez Aguino requested an update on community schools. And before we jump into that, I will say that our parent engagement, so Maria Osborne, she oversees or she works with both of these items. So it would be very easy for us to, if she's going to do a presentation, to include an update on community schools as well as our parent engagement initiatives.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was Trustee Esparza's request that kind of prompted me to remember the community schools. And I am curious to see where we are in this process. I've heard from other schools that they've applied for waiting for the grant or whatnot. So I would like an update. And I also want to find out how are we working with like our labor partners on this community schools concept or and like if these two items, for example, are going to be discussed, let's say at the next board meeting, what can we do to make sure this room is filled with parents that can hear about parent engagement, right? What we're doing, like how it makes, how it helps, right? Like the school sites and kids' education and all that. And then hear about community schools.
Absolutely. And I really like your idea of, board members engaging with the community and getting them out.
I would like to, sorry, I can't hear what you're saying. If you'd like, we could talk after the meeting, but if I could have the board's support on this, I'd appreciate it.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we now have communications from the Board of Trustees, 3-minute limit per trustee.
Sorry, Trustee Liker, I just want to go back. President Liker, I just want to go back. And for anybody that's out in Zoom, the board did give consensus to follow that up. I just said thank you very much, but I didn't say that the board gave consensus, so thank you.
Would anybody like to begin with their?
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be real quick. We did a couple of school site visits, Trustee Medina and myself. We did a Nicolaf visit, so thank you to Nicolaf. And Friday, we go to Oneonta. So we're looking forward to that experience as well. We had a nice welcoming at Nicolaf, so I'm sure that Oneonta is going to, do some balloons or maybe cake. I don't know. I want to thank the second grade teachers at all our elementary schools here in Imperial Beach for participating in the fire prevention poster contest and the winners to that contest. Also, I had a question about the video that was shown tonight. Is that going to be on our YouTube channel? Yes.
Now that we have shared it with the board, we will start sharing the video on all our social media platforms.
Super. Real quick, the Purple Star schools, I want to recognize IB and Emory. Emory, I don't know about IB charter, but well, them too. But Emory, as a military child, I know how important those support systems are for children and families, and the uncertainty of their home and their parent. So I want to recognize them. Legislative days are March 11th through the 13th. Please sign up if you haven't done so. Thank you.
I'll share that I had an experience this past month going to one of the schools. I was kind of there undercover, not really trying to be undercover, but nobody knew who I was. So I walked into the office and then the person greeted me and said, "Are you here to pick up a student?" And then I said, "No, I'm not here to pick up a student." And then she said, "Well, what can I help you with?" I was really hoping she would have said, "Good evening, sir. How are you doing today? Welcome." I think it would have felt much nicer. And I'm just thinking like, if I get that treatment walking into a school's office, what is the treatment that some of our parents are getting, right? And how are you gonna feel walking into a school when you get treated like you're a stranger? I guess I was a stranger, even though my picture is right there. But I felt like it was very rude and made me feel like I didn't belong. And I just want to make sure that like at every school site, we are having these conversations about like, how are we supposed to greet parents when they walk in the door, right? How do we make them feel welcome? And it was really, the reason I decided to bring it up today is because I actually got a phone call this morning from another parent who says that every time she walks into a certain school, she also gets treated a certain way. She's concerned that the reason she gets treated this way is because she's spoken up before about things that she's not happy with at the school. And I think, how are we going to encourage parents to speak up and share how they're feeling or provide their input when they do, they get treated differently. So, just kind of wanted to throw that out there. And I think it's very important for us to continue to work on like the culture at our schools, figuring out ways that we can like bring people together as a community, and really like kind of send the message out there that when we're all working together, supporting each other, we can do a lot of great things for our kids and for the community. And I also want to thank everybody for the work that you all have been doing. This has been a tough year for a lot of people. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of fear in our communities. But we know we have to hold it down for our people. We need to make sure that people feel safe and they feel supported, and that we're looking out for one another. So, thank you all for the work that you do. And we're going to continue to advocate, to make sure we have the best working environments, learning environments for our students, our staff, and, making sure our schools are a place where the community feels like they belong. So thank you, and I hope you all have a good night.
Thank you everyone for coming. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to say a few words. Coming here to the board meeting, it's a pleasure serving my community, serving the district. It is a pleasure when I see parents, teachers come up here to the public comments. It is my honor to listen to them. I wish there were more parents and teachers or any community member to come up here and express their concerns. And I take notes. Every single person that come up to the podium, I take notes. Also like to recognize the Emory for the Purple Star status of school. It's a great pleasure to have that. And with that, thank you for everybody being here, and have a good night.
Thank you, everyone. One thing that I did this month was I went to the Founders Day PTA event, and it was so nice to just have all this positive energy regarding like how parents come together, and the whole purpose or the theme was being a piece of the puzzle, like just being a small piece of the puzzle. If you feel like I don't have enough time, I can't do all of this, I can't solve all these problems, but just being that one voice, that one, like somebody was able to get a printer for something, and it was huge, but just writing the emails and stuff, but never thinking or feeling that your voice or your contribution is too small, because it's working together that we can make big things happen. So thank you for the invitation, and thank you everyone for coming and all your work. Have a good night.